So just because the media hasn't been talking that much about Doge and Elon lately because Trump is in the midst of a trade war and crashing the global economy, does not mean that they're not still doing incredible damage. Listen to this. This is from the Daily Beast. Doge goons cause major crash to Social Security website. Oh boy, here we go. Elon Musk's Doge goons crashed the Social Security Administration's website Monday when an apparent anti-fraud upgrade went badly wrong. By the way, you shouldn't trust them saying something is fraud at all. In fact, they accuse things of being fraud that are not fraud so they could just cut the program. So they shouldn't have been doing whatever the hell this was anyway. All right, let's continue. Several people reported being unable to access their online accounts weeks after the Department of Government Efficiency began hacking the agency apart from the inside. The cyber glitch prevented elderly people and low-income families from accessing and managing their information, applying for government services, and making or receiving payments. Doge's tech staff appeared not to have tested anti-fraud measures to make sure they could deal with the high volume of users, the Washington Post reported. In other words, this is amateur hour, y'all. They shouldn't be doing this anyway, but they are doing it, and they're also incredibly amateurish, and they crashed the site. Now remember, they're already destroying Social Security in other ways. They cut 50% of the offices, wildly illegal, wildly unconstitutional. They cut off the phone line, which about 40% of the claims are through there because old people prefer the phone to online. So you shut half the offices, you cut off the phone line, and then the website is also down. And on top of that, as you know, that we already have specific examples of Elon illegally cutting off payments to certain people. People who they say are dead who weren't dead. People who they say aren't born in the U.S. when they were born in the U.S. They were born on a U.S. military base in Germany, which counts as U.S. soil, which means you're American. So the nightmare is just beginning. And this is all coinciding with a massive economic collapse. So public sector jobs are being lost. Private sector jobs are going to be lost. 401ks are being wiped out. Prices are going up. And now Social Security is collapsing because they're killing it on purpose? What is there to say? What is there to say? We're witnessing just the absolute plundering of our country. It's that simple. The squad behind Doge includes a crew of 6 young men under the age of 26, including a 19-year-old college freshman. A 19-year-old college freshman is hacking around in Social Security and crashing the website. How are all of these people not in prison? And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. A message on the site for some users read, "We're sorry, but the online service you requested isn't available right now. We apologize for the inconvenience." The website crash has incited fear in several users, which has been increasing weeks after many of the 7.4 million adults and children receiving monthly benefits under the Supplemental Security Income Program were told they could not receive payments. Oh my God. Oh my God. Darcy Milburn, director of the Social Security Policy at ARC, a nonprofit for people with the intellectual and developmental disabilities, said Social Security's response has been, oops, it's woefully insufficient when we're talking about a government agency that's holding someone's life in their hands. Remember when Elon came out and said, oh, there's a bunch of young kids getting Social Security payments. Obviously, that's fraud. We're going to cut it off. No, you idiot. Social Security also gives payments to kids who lost both their parents. What is society supposed to do in a situation like that? What are they supposed to do? Well, a civilized society goes, oh my God, this kid lost both their parents. They need help. They're just a child. They need some support. Elon looked at that and said, we should cut that off because that looks like fraud. He doesn't know anything. Oh my God. Even when people are able to access the site, some people said they had been unable to sign into their accounts. Others found that after signing in, most of their information was missing. Everything's going great. Everything's going swimmingly. By the way, these protests that you're seeing against Trump and against Elon, they will soon turn into riots. At the pace we're going, they will soon turn into riots. The outage comes as President Donald Trump overhauls the agency. Around 7,000 workers have already been expelled since he took office, and the administration plans to fire thousands more. Every last one of those workers was illegally fired. Illegally. We just had another court decision the other day. I forget which agency it was. I think it was NIH. But a court looked at it and said, you have no authority to fire these people at the NIH. What the fuck's wrong with you? Reinstate all of them. The court said that with USAID too. They said that with all these different agencies that they're slashing these jobs. They're like, who are you? You're the world's richest man. You have no authority to override Congress and the president after something is signed into law and just cut things off because you want to. Like, this is not even a close legal question. But then the courts say that, and then what happens? they don't abide by the rulings. Again, if there is no more law, if people aren't taking notes and writing down all the crimes that are committed and then prosecuting this guy as soon as they can, right? I get it. The Republicans are in power. They're all cucks to Trump. They're never going to do it under his administration. But for the love of God, this needs to be a litmus test for Democrats. The next Democrat that's in power, you need to charge all of these people for their countless crimes. We are probably in the hundreds of crimes already committed. Musk has called Social Security a Ponzi scheme that sends checks to dead people, despite a 2024 Inspector General report providing less than 1% of the agency's payments were wrong between 2015 and 2022. The website crash isn't the first symptom of problems after Doge moved in. People have also reported long wait times on calls, the loss of direct deposit payments, and online accounts malfunctioning. The loss of direct deposit payments. Jesus Christ. At Doge, we talk about this from the beginning. We're going to do 80% cuts, but 20% of those are going to have to be reinstalled because we'll make mistakes. Department of Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. told reporters last week, Political reporter, a court blocked Doge from accessing sensitive Social Security Administration data in late March, while another lawsuit challenged the government's ability to implement mass layoffs. Inexcusable. These people are criminal. These people are gangsters. These people are thugs. These people have no idea what they're doing, and they don't care about the negative impacts on people's lives. When you talk about Social Security, you talk about Medicare, you talk about Medicaid, along with the low price of consumer goods, that and the social safety net, so Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, those are the only things holding this country together with duct tape and bubblegum. Because housing is way too expensive, higher education is way too expensive, healthcare is way too expensive, right? And it's the social safety net and the low cost of consumer goods that make it so we don't have a fucking French Revolution type thing in this country. And here they are, taking a meat cleaver to all of it. Turbulent times ahead, man. That's for damn sure. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.